they're going with a solid state hard drive, so that we don't have to worry about the other ones? Is that what that?
Identical to the other two that we did last year, at this beginning of this year.
Okay. That's why I was wondering, instead of a running hard drive, it's a solid state. So it would, if we had to, it would match up with our other ones if we have one that dies, right? Okay.
So,
Okay, it's 6:30, we will call the December 9th Washington City Commission meeting to order. Okay, first on the agenda is the minutes from November 12th. Somebody have a chance to review those minutes?
I'll move to approve the November 12th meeting minutes.
I'll second that.
Additions or corrections? No, Mike?
Aye.
No. Yes. Oh, I forgot to mention, we're adding one more item to the agenda, item 31, A2S Nexus. So. All right, next is the financials. Everybody have a chance to review those?
I make a motion that we accept the financials.
I'll second that. Questions? The financial. Okay, Mike?
Aye.
No? Yes? Okay, Brent Sanders, sewer repair bill. Guess we have a new thing now, you know, if you want to address the commission, you know, you come up to the microphones that way. That way you're on the video, and then we can also hear what people are saying.
I'm gonna have to turn it on. I don't think it's on right now.
So I think,
Hello? No?
That's on.
It's on, isn't
what was
it?
it on?
It must be.
I don't know. Well, you won't hear it in here.
It goes for our
I was
video.
gonna say, I would need a microphone.
It's for our video.
Oh, okay.
I guess the little review here is, what I understand, okay, there was a sewer problem at, Hardy, Boganowski's, right, and then what happened is, it was cambered, right, and then we found out that it needed to be dug up. So they went in and started digging, and once you dug, you found that, Sanders and Boganowski's sewers came together at the houses and then went out one line, is that correct?
Well, by the street.
Where they joined?
Mine comes off right by the corner of my fence, and Marty's came down my fence line and went into mine, and then went to the street.
Where were they tied together at?
Way back in between houses.
That's what I thought they were tied
Yeah,
together.
right by the fence, which is back off the road, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, it's kind of in the front of the houses where they tied together,
Yeah.
correct? Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, and then, what happened is, you know, you have to have your own, service.
Yeah, I want to pay
Heading out.
$30,000 for us, and ask about that too.
When you what?
I'm paying $2,000 a year for the next 15 years over all that sewer work that was done in the street. And we both still have the same sewer line,
Right. Okay.
so now I'm responsible for separating them after I've paying them $2,000 a year now for the next 15 years.
Well, I looked up the sewer assessment for that project. It was like $5,600, I believe it was, or $5,800. Actual water and sewer were that's separate from sewer assessment.
Separate from the street.
Sorry.
From the street, you mean?
Right. So anyway, just to continue a little bit. So when they dug up, I think the city covered the cost of the curb and out in the street. And then I'm not sure how things were divvied up as far as between you and
Right, either, I have no idea.
We never got a
Nobody
bill.
talked to you,
We
or?
never signed a contract, we never called, we never had sewer come.
Well, somebody talked to you, I'm sure, right?
Yeah, I'm talking to one out there, and this, I've never had a problem with sewer before, and I don't see any reason for my sewer dug up or anything disturbed on this. That old clay sewer line's been in there for God knows how long, what, 90 years? So it must be grandfathered in. I bet at least half the other houses along that whole street are the same way. So they must need to dig everybody's up and separate them? I don't think so, it should have stayed the way it was.
Well, the problem is, the thing is, there was an issue with it, so once you find an
But
issue,
it
it
was
has to
an
be
issue
fixed.
with Boganowski's, not with ours. We didn't have a
I've
problem.
never had a problem with
No.
sewer, ever.
No, actually, it was where they were coming coming out, there was the wrong Fernco transitioning between them that started the problem. And then,
Yeah, who put
But
that
that
in
didn't
there?
have to do with us. That's
I mean,
Is
whoever
that when they
put
did
that
the
on.
street?
Yeah,
Evidently they put that on when they did all the street repair stuff out there, is when that was put on.
I don't know, I would imagine. I'm
That's,
not
it
sure.
is, it's newer, we had all
But-
clay pipe, and then you have that rubber
Right.
fern coat fitting that's
It's
put on
rubber.
there, an improper fern coat fitting at that, put on there.
But now, from what I have understood from just talking to people, Boganowski's sewer is lower than theirs, is that correct?
the house is a little bit lower.
So that would mean if you have a shared sewer, they would get the problem first, you know? The only problem is once you find something and you dig it up, you can't bury it again, you have to fix it, you know? That's just a fact of life. You know, our ordinance says, you know, every building structure and consumer in the city must have a separate utility service connection. And then it also says that, you know, the consumer shall own the sewer line from the city curb to the dwelling or building.
So back to my original thing then, so they needed to go down the whole street and separate everybody's sewer, because I guarantee you that house is not, those two houses aren't the only ones that are tied together like that.
I guess that, I mean,
I
that
can
could
guarantee
definitely be
that.
researched. You know, the reason,
lot of work coming up
the
there.
reason it came up is because there was an issue. You know, the thing is, you can't
I never
bury
had
an
an issue. Sue's telling me I never had an issue ever, Larry, ever.
I know, but
Never
it
had
was
an
dug
issue.
up and we found the issue.
but all
that
they did
you
was
were
separate
together.
our sewer from his sewer, that's all they did.
I never had new sewer line put in,
Yeah.
nothing.
We didn't have
Marty did,
nothing
he got new
new,
sewer all over his
nothing.
house, because he wanted it done that way, so I don't understand why I'm paying $2,000 for
Well,
him.
you have new sewer into the street, right,
Nope.
Chris?
It was,
Nope,
they go new independently up to the boulevard.
To the boulevard.
Yep.
Still on the same line.
But see, that's the city portion after that. That is the city sewer then.
The decision was made not to dig 12, 14 feet into the, you know, deep into the street to try and put a separate saddle on.
Okay.
And
Which is
so
perfectly fine with me, and I said, I didn't want nothing done in the first place. And I told Brian out that day, I said,
we
this is Marty's
recycled
deal.
as much of Brent's as possible.
Well, the only issue is if there's a problem, it has to be fixed. You know, once it's dug open, it has to be fixed.
Sure, Marty wanted all that dug up, so that's what I'm saying. It's kinda like his request. I didn't request anything,
we had
didn't
our own
sign
plumber.
nothing, didn't
We had our
ask
own
anyone to
plumber
do
that
anything.
would've done it for free for us.
Well, it was on Marty's, kind of on Marty's.
Like right down the property line there.
Yeah, it,
Right on the
you know,
property
right
line.
through it.
We'd have it surveyed, I guess, to see exactly where it's at, but.
with your guys' landscaping, the retaining wall and the fence and stuff, it became an access issue as to where you could dig it up to get to it, or how to replace it. And so that's how we ended up with what we did.
And I think the way it was done definitely saved a lot of money. Otherwise, they would have actually dug into your yard and run a complete separate line all the way out. Then you have,
So basically, they cut off where the fitting was and put a piece of plastic pipe right there on mine, and got rid of that pipe running back towards Marty's house, that's all they did on mine.
Well,
Had to get, Marty ran a whole brand-new sewer line out to clean out on the side of his house, and water line, everything else. I got a piece of plastic pipe in there, which I don't care, my sewer's fine, it's nothing, that's not the issue. So I don't see why I'm paying $2,000 for a little piece of plastic pipe in a ditch that was already dug up per Marty's request.
we had to backfill some to get back in there, and there was some extra work that went into it. You know, that's how it got itemized, I guess. I could draw a map and show you kind of what I had more pictures, I can only find one where it come in. but I mean, I can show you kinda what it was and what we did, but I don't know. I mean, as far as how to make it work.
But there was very minimal done to mine, you gotta admit to that.
There wasn't a
Because
lot.
I said I didn't want anything done, so.
No, and that's why we did
Yeah.
what we kinda did, but it was about, you know, a little bit, there was a day's worth of getting back into it, to dig back, to get yours to be as independent as we could. You know, to make it as best we could with the least amount of work. You know, without fence and retaining wall and stuff like that. And that's
We
how
didn't see a bill, we didn't see a contract,
Well,
we
it was-
didn't,
It was
we didn't see
between
nothing.
one of the other commissioners and Brian.
we didn't have no verbal, no nothing. Like I said, we had our own plumber, that would've done it for nothing. Certified plumber,
Well,
that is,
he'd have to be an installer for this, not just a plumber, but.
Well, he is a certified with the state of North Dakota.
If we did that and if,
Which I don't want that done anyway, that's not the issue I'm even getting at, you guys, you don't understand none of this stuff, I do not see where any of this is my responsibility.
Well,
When he dug that up in there, that could've been fixed with that fitting or whatever he wanted to do, but no, he wanted his own line ran through there and all that stuff. He's got a toilet sitting on a box in his basement that backs up in there, so what, so probably not getting, maybe he doesn't have a quarter inch per foot of flow or nothing in that thing. Whatever, I don't throw none of that crap either. He wanted brand new sewer ran to his house, basically, is what it amounts to, because I know he's always having problems with it, having it cleaned out all the time. He got it dug up, and decided, well, being this wide together now, I want my own line running out there, and that's what exactly what he said too. Well, I want my own line run out there. I said, that's fine, I don't want nothing done. I said, care what you guys do to mine, mine's fine, I don't want nothing done to it, so he had all this other stuff done. How much was his bill for what he had done?
36.
3,600?
Yep.
And mine's
Yeah, it's
$2,000?
Yep.
Get brand new sewer line, water line, everything else put in all the way to his house with cleanouts and everything on it, and I had a little piece of pipe in there for $2,000. Come on.
the city covered from the curb out, correct?
Essentially from the boulevard,
From the boulevard out.
which is kind of standard issue.
Yeah, so you guys covered from that point to your houses is where you covered, from what I
So-
understand.
The city paid for the gravel and the stuff, and then they'll pay for the repairs on this curving street. So they got more coming yet.
But you, just to be clear now, you were notified though that the work was going on and this is what they
Oh, I saw the
found,
big hole
correct?
where my dog actually fell in it, and there was no fencing around it or shoring or nothing.
That wasn't my question though, but
Yes, I
you
saw the
were
hole out
you
there,
were
yeah.
notified though, right? I mean, they
no, and I
talked to
thought
you
that they
about it.
dug the
It
hole.
was already dug up out there, I just, as far
And
as I
Brian
knew,
came
Mark,
and talked to me.
Well, the thing
I
is,
wasn't
they didn't
notified
know
till
there
I-
was a issue until they dug the hole. You know, they didn't know they were together until they dug the hole. I mean, you
that
can't.
wasn't the issue though, why was that an issue when it didn't, I've never had a problem with it.
Well, because you're higher up than they are.
So the
You know,
problem's
who,
got
who caused the sewer problem? I don't know. You know,
I don't think anybody caused the sewer problem, 'cause
Thing is, he could have put a pump in there and pressurized the system and pumped it into your place. Then you would have been mad because it went the other way. Because they have lift pumps that will just,
those sewer
course.
lines have been there for 80 years, and no one's ever had a problem. It was after that work was done on the street that he started having problems with the sewer. And it was that damn fitting on the end of that thing that caused all the problems. Chris saw that in there when I was out there with him that day, that's what caused it. Whoever did that tying out in the street, or a company working out there and dug the street up 6 times and all that crap.
That
Caused that.
definitely-
I never had a
definitely was an
problem
issue,
before, so
right?
why should I pay anything for that?
well, because once you find something that's wrong, you have to fix it. That's the way it is. I mean, you know, and it was either fix it that way, or else, you know, dig a brand new line, which would cost way more than that. You know, it costs, I don't know what it would cost.
Apparently $2,000, but Marty got charged.
Yeah.
We could have had a
3,600 for
one
brand new
$1,000
sewer,
more.
after done $1,600, brand new sewer run to my house, and a new water line. That'd be a pretty good deal there. Compared to $2,000 for a 5-foot piece of plastic pipe. You guys don't understand where that's not even rational, doesn't even make sense?
I don't know what was put in there. I have to go by, what, you know, Brian's not here, Chris is here. Colin was there, he's not here tonight. you know, we could
That's
table it until
that's
Colin
way
gets here, I
out,
don't know.
period.
You know, I don't know how they divvied out, you know, Colin was involved with that. I don't know. Was a bill, we never received a bill in the mail?
No, I got the water and sewer bill, it's a miscellaneous $2,000 or $1,990, like, what the hell is this?
Chris, you never sent a bill then?
So no, because it was sent to the city. So Chelsea, she sent him this on the 27th of November.
Oh,
I just got the bill like Saturday before last, yeah. I'm working 4 teams now, and
okay, I didn't know that.
so I came to what was this even before, yeah.
So Chelsea sent this item, this invoice that we paid
Okay,
along with the little utility card.
okay, I'm going to, motion that we table this until Colin's here, because he was involved with this, and we'll let him make the decision on what he wants to do.
That way
He is the
Brian
water
can be here too, so
commissioner. That way Brian can be here too.
I'll second that.
Any other discussion on that? Mike?
Aye.
No?
Aye.
Yes?
All right, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, you know, thanks for filling us in on a lot of this. I didn't know a lot of this, so,
Okay, no, not a problem, I just.
yeah, so. Okay, where are we at? Okay, liquor license renewals. First one we have is, Interbase.
Make a motion that we renew the license for Interbase.
I'll second.
Discussion? You went through all these, Rainey, and everything is,
The only issue is the Brunello
Right.
is not, he is delinquent in his taxes and per the ordinance, he
okay.
has the right to revoke or suspend.
Okay, we'll address that one when we get to that one
Okay.
then, okay. So this is just for, we've got to do each one individually, so.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. So, okay, we have a motion and a second. Mike?
Aye.
Noel? Yes. Okay, next one is American Legion.
I move to approve.
Okay, I'll second that. Discussion? Mike?
Aye.
Noel?
Aye.
Yes. Next is Riverboat Saloon.
I make a motion, we accept the liquor license renewal for the Riverboat Saloon.
I'll second that. Discussion? Mike?
Aye.
Noel?
Aye.
Yes. Okay, next is Super Pumper. I'll make the motion to renew Super Pumper.
Second.
Discussion? Mike?
Aye.
Noel?
Aye.
Yes. Okay, then we'll go to Captain's Cabin.
I'll make a motion to accept the renewal for Captain's Cabin.
Second.
Discussion? Mike?
Aye.
Noel?
Aye.
Yes. Okay, then we've got, Bryn Arlo Enterprises. So, they are behind on their property taxes, so according to ordinance, if you are behind, you, that's a reason to not renew. You have to be current, let's see what it says here. It says,
On page 12.
And that renews at the first of the year,
Ends on December 31st.
the first. Okay.
okay, there's a revocation, cancellation, or suspension of license, and number 10 is when licensee fails to pay when due property taxes or license fees. It's also mentioned earlier in here that they have to be current. Yeah, also under, qualifications required for license. F is property tax for the building in which the licensed premises are located may not be delinquent. And from what we understand, they are delinquent. So, talking with David, you know, our attorney said, no, we can't, you know, issue this one, obviously. So, so it says licenses shall end on December 31st, following the date of their issuance. License issued under the provisions of this ordinance may be revoked, canceled, or temporarily suspended for any one or more of the following reasons. And number 10 was when the license fails to pay the due property taxes or fees. So, Rainey, if you can help me out on this, what did we, I'm wondering,
So you have to notify them, mail to the licensee by certified return receipt, mail not less than 5 days or more than 15 days before the hearing, if they request a hearing.
so, do we need to,
You need to notify them,
okay,
and then they have a right to a hearing, and then,
okay, so then basically, we need I'm gonna guess we need a motion to send them, a letter stating what's going on, and then if they wanna schedule a hearing, they need to.
well, you need to motion what you wanna do, and then.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
so, the question is, do we wanna revoke or cancel?
You have to think by the end of the time, by the time you get to December 31st, it's only 2 weeks away.
Right,
Can we suspend it, and send them the notification and put, the suspension starts the 31st of this, or December?
well,
And then would have time to, we'd have time to mail everything out?
Well, it expires on the
it would be,
31st.
it expires on the 31st. So it wouldn't, a suspension, it would either be a revocation, or, I would say a cancellation. Would
Okay,
be- Would be in order, and we will send them a notice on that. So I am going to make a motion that we send a cancellation notice to them and, you know, explain to them they have the right to a review. And if they would like one, we will, schedule a special meeting for that. That should cover it, Rainey, right?
Mhm. I would think so.
Okay,
And that would give them that chance to
correct.
do everything, okay? I just want them to have a chance to come in and.
Right,
and
exactly,
be
well, that's why we send them.
and if they pay it up, then,
We can do a special meeting
We
if
can
we
do
have to,
and then,
right?
Well, if we have to do a special meeting, we'll do a special.
yeah. But they can pay it up if they want to,
Yeah.
before then, okay?
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second, any further discussion? Mike?
Aye.
No?
Aye.
Yes. Okay. Okay, Beverly Peterson. Kind of tell us what you're looking at here?
Thank you very much for letting me do this tonight. I had talked to Rainey earlier as I am trying to open up a new flower gift shop down on Main Street in the back part of Mike Nelson's Farmers Union building.
Okay.
And I had this idea that part of my purpose of being there is to provide a full-service gift shop. Not just like Pride of Dakota stuff, but more flowers and gifts. And
Mhm.
part of that would include gift baskets for whatever occasion somebody needs it for. And I'd really like to have the opportunity to sell small bottles of wine. And in order to do that, I need a license to do that. And so, Rainey just advised me that maybe I could get something as far as a special amendment or something for small quantities of wines.
No, we would have to amend the current ordinance to have additional class.
Right.
Cause what you're requesting is a class 3, and there's only currently one available license or entity able to be licensed under that class. So we would have to amend it to have 2, if you wanted to be able to sell off-sale.
Correct, thank you.
Unless one would come open,
Right.
you know, which
Right,
might happen, who knows?
right.
And how much are we talking volume-wise? Just a rough, you know,
I'm not real sure, but it won't be a lot.
okay.
There's the only other flower shop right now is Turtle Lake, and she says that she's grandfathered in that area because her father had gotten that liquor permit at that time, 50 years ago. And so she has kept that current. And she does sell a little, not a lot. And so I'm not saying she's my competition, but she's just my comparison. I would say probably less than $100 a month.
Yeah, you know what the cost is for that license, right?
I do.
It's gonna take you a couple of years.
I do.
Okay. So,
But if I don't have it, I wouldn't even have a chance to fulfill
Right.
certain, you know, that's where I'm at.
what we need to do then is to amend the ordinance. There's a couple different things. Ray, do you explain it, or you need to, or,
To amend an ordinance,
well, this ordinance?
this particular ordinance was created by petition referral, but because we have a home rule charter, and we're past the 5 years, we can amend it as a typical or normal amendment to an ordinance. So it will just require the 2 readings with the final passage.
With 4 out of 5 vote of the members.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Can I do it for a temporary part of the year, like for a certain amount, like for 4 or 5 months to see if I'm even gonna be selling any? Would that help any? 'Cause maybe it's unnecessary that I even
Right.
have you guys go through this trouble.
I think we would have to read through this further, but I don't believe that is even in here at this
Okay.
time,
Okay,
you know. Not that I know of anyway, and I
Okay.
have read through this. Basically, they're, you know, for a year.
okay,
But I can see where, a person doesn't want to spend all that money and then find out it doesn't work.
well, and I didn't know if there was a temporary license.
I don't believe so.
Not
Okay.
for our ordinance, no.
Not for
Okay.
ordinance, right?
Can she go through like another bottle shop or something like that to do it?
I don't believe so.
Okay. All right.
So I couldn't buy from Turtle Lake, in other words.
Well, I was
Okay.
thinking like the cabin or, you know,
No,
somebody like
because you
that.
would be selling it here.
Right.
This is
Oh,
to-
yeah,
Yeah,
okay,
this is to sell it here.
right,
A license to sell it, you know.
okay.
I think this is, something we could look into, I guess.
You may have this class open within a couple of months here if this
Right.
other one does not.
Very possible.
Okay.
It could be open, yeah.
Yep.
But I definitely know what you're saying about, the cost. It's not cheap.
I've got a question then. If Bernardo's doesn't renew or doesn't pay his taxes, then am I allowed to get his then? Do I have to petition you guys again to do that then?
Well, his would be canceled,
Oh, okay.
you know.
What
We-
about transferring? Could, if they say, okay, we're not gonna be able to do the taxes, could Bev go to them
Well-
and say, can it be transferred? And they can come up with their own like,
Or do I have to go
Dollar.
through and start all over again to come and get it?
We would have to look up transferring on here.
because that's what they did with, when Vickers owned it.
I know, but
Didn't
it's
they
the
transfer?
same, it's the same
It's the
place.
same place,
It's the
right,
same
yeah.
place. That we'd have to look into.
Okay.
But, from what I understand, without getting too far into this, he probably shouldn't even have his license now. because it was missed on his form that he wasn't paid up last year either.
Okay.
But we missed it, so, we gotta do some, checking with our attorney and stuff
Okay.
on this, to see
Okay.
where we're at.
Well, thanks for your time, you guys.
Yeah.
What is your timeline yet, Bev? Is it still?
I had hoped to open by January 1, but I'm in no hurry. I have no timeline as far as when that would
Wow,
start.
January 1, that's right around the corner.
Yeah, but for the wine part, I mean, I can hold that off
Right.
forever. I
Because
mean,
we could figure out what's going on with Vernello, and then there
Right.
might be one available within a few
Right.
weeks,
Right,
Yeah,
instead of having to go through the whole change process.
right, well, yeah. 'Cause
Because that would take 2 readings, so that would just be 2 meetings.
Mhm. And we definitely wanna promote businesses in town. I
Thank
mean,
you.
The more we get, the better we are, I think.
Good, thank you.
But yet we also have to follow the ordinance.
that's right, I totally get that. And I can work around that. That's not the end of the
Okay.
world.
We'll keep in touch, I'd like
Okay.
to keep in touch, we'll see
Thanks a
what we
lot.
can find out.
Thanks
Yeah.
for your time.
Thank you, Beth.
Yep.
Okay, Royal Hall handicap accessibility.
The plan for that is when I put a lift in, and I need to make a motion that we can put it in the building. And we have one ordered or ready to go in. It just might take a while to get it, but I need the approval to put it in.
Okay,
So that's my motion, is to put an elevator, handicapped accessible elevator in.
okay. We have a second?
I'll second.
Discussion. So is the Legion actually putting this in, or who's actually putting this in? Is it the city putting it in, or is the Legion putting it in?
Legion's going to put it in. They might need some money to build the shaft and access doors. It depends on how much money we're getting through donations. But Terry said, we're putting it in so we're compliant, so the building don't get closed down.
Okay, well, I mean, that's what I was wondering.
Yeah.
It's a Legion,
Project.
Project.
Just like
like the kitchen was.
the kitchen and the drain tile and the
Sure.
cement parking lot.
Yeah.
That isn't, all those were great improvements, but they need some help from us,
Right,
so.
So do
okay,
you
so,
wanna make that part of your motion, and that the Legion has the approval to install?
Yes,
Okay.
oh, yeah.
yeah, if we can do it that way, yeah.
So do you agree with the second on that?
Yes.
Any other discussion on that? Any discussion? Okay, motion, Mike?
Aye.
No?
Aye.
Yes, okay. So, what's that, funding thing called again?
Twice blessed,
Twice blessed, when do they,
the 31st, or the end of the year.
okay, so that's when everything is due by then?
Yes,
And
for donations.
For donations, and I think the Legion was gonna
Put some in,
put some in, and then they match up to 5,000, is that
Right.
correct?
And they've already paid for part of the elevator to get it ordered in a timely manner.
Okay,
So there was a down payment already paid.
okay. So, for now, we should be okay as far as.
For now.
As funding.
Yeah, we need to see what's coming in,
Okay. All right,
but it's a good project, which will improve.
well, I think it's a good project. Okay, very good. Whitehall rental agreement, Girl Scouts.
So, this Hallie Mattis,
Maddie's.
Maddie, He's starting a Girl Scout group here in town and was inquiring about renting the community room downstairs of the Memorial Hall and asked to have the fees waived. They're meeting twice a month, first and third Mondays.
And they were talking about some storage too that they wouldn't mind having.
Yeah, there's a cabinet in that room, so they'd like to just put their stuff in that cabinet.
You know, I really like, you know, different groups being in town, the Girl Scouts, I mean, whoever, you know, and the more groups the better, but can we afford to just keep waiving fees for everybody? You know, the thing is, you know, the rental fee is $15, you know, I mean,
Right.
is it a lot? No. I mean, but it helps pay some of the bills, you know.
Yeah, it would be nice if she would've came in and, you know, the Legion's looking for somebody to help with putting some movies on. You know, we need groups like that to help with the Legion to put
Right.
on these things. And that would be something that would have been nice for them to come in and say, hey, it's something that we might want to help with. And that's what we're looking for.
Right.
So, you know, if we waive the fee, you know, it would be nice if they would do something else, so.
Yeah.
It would be nice to table it until we can talk to her.
Their first meeting is next week.
Well, like she explained in the letter she wrote, they don't have the funds right now, they're just starting out, they're nonprofit. And I don't see how we can say now, these guys gotta pay when the Boy Scouts don't. I mean,
Yeah. And that's why I was hoping that we could get them to get involved too.
They don't have a service club that's backing them? Question.
No, I
Yeah.
don't think so. From the conversation I had with her, no.
I know when Boy Scouts were going, the Lions backed, they helped back them, you know, so
Mhm.
you'd think that they would have and I don't know why they haven't, if they've approached anybody or not. Just
Well-
a thought for,
Can we do like, waive the fees for a couple months and see, you know, what the response is from them?
You can make any motion you want.
Well, that gets me in trouble, so I'll just make a motion for 2 months, we'll waive the fees, and we'd like to speak with them.
Good idea. Okay. I'll second that. Discussion?
Aye.
No?
I,
Yes.
Just wait, I got more motions.
We'll let you speak, Mike. Yeah, you can be the contact now.
Okay, I will be.
You know, I'm thinking we might need to just look at our whole, for everybody, the whole
Mhm.
policy, you know,
Yeah.
not just them, so. Okay. Okay, sales and use, painted with golf course. They met on November 25th.
I got some questions about that,
Okay,
or concern.
just a second. So what happened is, you know, they presented to the 110 sales tax. They were asking 5 years for $35,000 a year to help support the golf course. And the Sales and Use Tax Committee voted to approve that. If you'd like to address this, come up there.
Well, I don't know what kind of an agreement the city and Painted Woods Golf Course has right now. But you've been giving them money in the past, quite a bit of money. And I don't,
The Sales and Use has, yes.
yeah, the sales and use has. Now, granted, I think you're gonna give them the money, but I'm against this 5-year thing. I think they should come back in and justify their need, show their improvements in their performance, that they're making headway with their issues to get the next year's. if you give somebody a 5-year, we're gonna do this for 5 years, they've got 4 years to just kinda muddle in the water.
Right, Jim?
I don't agree with it.
Yeah, well, what they did was they, you know, I had actually brought that up at the meeting, and, they, you know, for the last, I think it was at least 2 or 3 years, you know, this year was the first time they've actually got a little bit in the, or not in the red, put it that way, a little bit in the black. They've, you know, they have been, the members out there have been volunteering their time to, you know, do all the work that needs to be done out there. They're working with the bank in town and the bank in North Dakota, who, from what I understand, has been, suspending the interest payments just to help them get by. You know, they're like $800,000 in debt. And the park board owns the land in the building.
I looked that up today, yeah.
Yeah,
So what happens if they go under? Then it's the park board and the park board's debt?
yeah, pretty much. You know, but from, well, that's what I'm,
Yeah.
since they own it.
But
But
see,
in-
there's so much going on here. You know,
Right.
we spent a lot of money on the hall,
Yeah.
we're talking about pool, you know,
Right.
this town is deeply in debt with specials.
Yeah.
You know, and if, somewhere along the line, you have to pull back,
Right.
you know.
This came out of the economic development part of it,
Yep.
you know, so that, I mean, that part cannot be used for infrastructure, okay? You know, the reason they went 5 years is they're trying to show, like, especially the Bank of North Dakota, that, you know, we have a commitment from, you know, the city. And they're also going to Wilton for money for 5 years, you know?
Yeah, I sat down and figured out the numbers,
Yeah,
you know, and
yeah,
if Wilton's paying their fair share, at the end of the 5 years, Washburn and Wilton will pay like $360,000 to them.
well, Wilton's is like half a Washburn,
Right.
but, yeah.
Wilton's like 110.
Yeah, I think it was 18,000 a year for
Yeah.
Wilton, or something like that.
That's what they're asking Wilton
Yeah.
for the next 5
Right.
years, and we're at 35.
Because Wilton doesn't have the, you know, sales volume or whatever that we have, so, yeah.
So,
um,
you know, and I know the golf course is a nice thing for a community to have,
mhm.
but how much money that actually brings into this community is, I don't know. You know,
I don't either, but I mean, I'm sure they do bring in,
You know,
people stop to
yeah.
eat, they stop for gas, they.
before I came down here, I talked to people that I know that golf. I used to golf. I used to volunteer at the golf course. I overhauled the pumps every year
Oh,
for
okay.
Larry Shaw when it was a 9-hole course. But I talked to a lot of people that they don't belong out here anymore. They joined in Underwood.
Oh.
I mean, they need to get their base back.
Right, and I think, and they've been working on that, you know, and they fully admit, you know, when they first, you know, put the 18 in, you know, they screwed up, and they've been working to get that changed, so it's not
Yeah.
such a hateful course anymore.
Well, I just figured I could put in my 2 cents worth. That,
That's okay.
You know,
Yeah, that's
you know,
why.
I don't mind giving them money, but
Right.
you kind of, if you stretch it out 5 years, you're kind of enabling them to do kind of
Yeah,
whatever they need, you know, so.
yeah.
And I don't see any of them here, so they were pretty positive they were going to do this.
Well, the way it's set up is, you know, when the sales news tax, you know, recommends something, as long as it's, you know, legal, we pretty much have to follow it.
Okay.
That's the way it's set up.
Okay,
I don't know, I don't necessarily agree with that, but that's the way it's set up, you know? So, yes,
Do they charge the city sales tax out there now?
No,
No.
that's the county.
they're out in the county.
Yeah.
And my problem is, first they got donations for the principal, but they didn't apply it to the principal at the meeting. That's what he said, I believe, if I read it right, or listened to the video.
I don't believe so.
I think that's what they said, they got pledges and they used it for operating loans the first year, instead of putting it against the principal. So now, are they going to do the same thing again with this money and not put it against the principal to get down our loan, or that loan?
What they did this year, this fall. from
No,
what
but when they put this in,
I'm just saying,
Okay.
when this year, in order to make their payment, people paid have already paid their membership fees for 2020, so they could make the payment due in 19.
Yep, they said that. But then they also said that before, when they did the 18 hole, they didn't put the money against the principal.
I don't remember that.
If I remember the video right, I can double check it.
Yeah, I don't remember that one, but.
But the other thing is, we're bypassing the boards. And that board is an appointed board, this board is an elected board. So basically, it's taken out of everybody's hands.
I agree with you. I
You know, and
don't
it's,
agree the way
you know,
it's set up, but.
Well, are
But
they
we don't
still-
have
Are
to
they still
do-
doing improvement projects and, or are they just trying to get out of their head back above water?
That's what they're trying to do, exactly.
Because if they're spending piles of your money doing improvements, I don't agree with that.
Well, they talked about improving the equipment.
They're still making, I'm on the golf board too, just because.
Can we get people to come up to the,
Because of the
so
park
people
board.
knows who's talking, you know, that's what we need to do.
I'm on the golf board too, just because I'm on the park board, because the park board has a member on the golf board committee. You know, they're spending money to make improvements, because there's some stuff that was not quite right when they did it the first time, to make the holes not as hard, so it's easier to play. So they are still making improvements as they're going along, just because it's normal stuff to do.
Okay.
So,
Do you know
it's
where
not like they
the,
can just stop making
Well, right.
improvements and stuff, so,
this money, where is it going to go?
honestly, I can't tell you that. for sure.
So they can do whatever they want to. They don't even have to pay the principal. They could use it as operating.
There's a
Right.
good chance that it's, no, it's early in the year, yeah, they could use it to start the golf course and then, but hopefully it's tagged, hopefully it's
It's
tagged
to keep
with
the place going is what it is.
It's for most, but to keep the place going, so whatever it's tagged for, I do not, I can't tell you that for sure.
Cut the check to the Bank of North Dakota.
So, I don't know how it works other than that, but hopefully we use it for the loan payment only, but that right now can't be a guarantee.
Did you get a report from them every year on, you put your money in? What are we getting out of this? Where did you spend our money?
We did get a report, I think, the last time we gave them $50,000.
You gave $50,000 in 2013,
Yeah, I think
That's
they
before
can
the
provide us with a report on that.
and in 18 you gave them 25,000.
Maybe it's 18, I'm thinking. I know I've got one in my book, in my file at home. They had what they did that.
They give you a packet to this last meeting, right?
I didn't go to the-
No. Is there anything in there?
So where they spent the money that
Right.
we gave them? No.
Okay.
No, he's talking
'Cause it
about
should have been in that
what I told
pack.
you at that meeting, like right after start.
That was, what was it, 25,000 for marketing and advertising and
Advertising.
10,000
Oh, yeah, that's what
Yeah.
it was. I think
and
that's
then it
the
was
one they gave.
10,000 for stuff at the clubhouse
Yeah,
that they were doing. They're gonna get new inventory and more stuff at home for.
yeah, I think they gave us a report on that one, and like, I
Most of
I
it was
didn't put my
advertising.
stuff at home, I didn't put my thing, but normally I do. so. Good discussion, though. I mean,
Are they looking at other ways to make money?
I think they're always looking at ways to. make
Well,
money.
originally, when they first did the fundraising for the 9-hole golf course, that was a dual-purpose place.
Correct. I think there was gonna be a
And
shooting
I
range
know a
out
lot
there
of
at one
people
time.
that were members of the gun club
Yeah,
that donated money. They were gonna share the golf course and they were gonna have a trap range somewhere.
I remember that.
And it was a joint venture to save money.
Yeah.
And a lot of them went to their grave mad about that. Because the golf course, the trap shooting was never gonna be there.
Yeah.
I don't think it ever had a chance, but they used it to raise money.
Yeah.
But Klaus, I've had class reunions out there. They used to go out there and have a burger in the evening. I don't even know if they can have it anymore.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. They still have that. I mean, I think how many tours did they say running? Like 12 or 15?
Yeah, there's
Um,
this report.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. So, but I know people have reunions out there and stuff, so,
12 corporate outings.
yeah, all corporate meetings.
Nice office.
And they do try and buy everything they can in town, I mean,
Hartford and Wilton.
I'm sure, both, yeah. I mean, Wilton's kind of limited on,
Well, they have
We have a
liquor
store.
license out there, or who do they work, off of some of the liquor license?
they have
Off
their
the
own.
county.
Yeah, they're from that's county,
Okay.
yeah. Okay. Anything else? Okay, so with that, I'll make the motion that we, approve the 35,000 for 5 years, starting in, 2020, January 2020. You know, this is what it is.
Second.
Discussion, further discussion? Mike?
Present.
Well,
Aye.
yes. Washburn Park Board land transfer. So they requested last meeting to put, bathrooms and a concession stand on,
No bathrooms right now, just
Oh,
concession stand only
concession
for right now. The concrete pad's gonna be bigger than the concession stand we're gonna get for right now, but, possibly could add on to it later. So we're looking to put a concrete pad in there, 16 by 24.
Yes.
To put on this building that somebody bought is gonna donate to the park board.
okay,
That we're gonna put on that slab, and that building is only 8 by 12. But the pad's gonna be bigger in case you wanna add on to it later.
okay,
But for right now, there's gonna be no bathrooms or anything else.
okay. So anyway, it was discussed there that we should probably, you know, give some land to the park board, that way it's on their land, not on our land, we don't have to mess with it, we don't have to worry about it. So I actually met with the guys, our guys, you know, and this is kind of where we were looking at, is, you know, from this property line here, running all the way over, it's probably not a straight line, it should come right to that, where that corner is there,
Okay.
you know, and then,
Right here.
or that one too.
It was, yeah.
Yeah, but, I think that would probably be the best, that way we don't, it's their land, they can do what they want with it, you know. And that gives us plenty of room if we ever need to expand our water treatment plant.
Kind of takes care of that no man's land thing that's always gone on down there too.
That's true, yeah. It's always been kind of a, who owns what, yeah.
Have we talked to the neighbors about the snow and stuff? Any problems with, anybody said anything about it? Okay.
No.
Well, you know, whatever they do, they would need a building permit, you know, so, I mean, that would be the time, I think, to, you know, address stuff like that. You know, they also run soccer on there and everything else,
On the city's land.
right? So I'm gonna make a motion that we give this land to the park board, and they will be responsible for the, legalities of it.
Any survey or anything like
Yeah.
that, what you're saying. I'll second that.
Discussion? Good? Okay. Mike?
Aye.
No? Yes? Okay.
Do we know if there's any pins down there now?
Grab a hammer and.
Wherever we put it.
Yeah.
We have a line.
Yeah.
Great.
So we can go to the city attorney and get this started then, or?
Right. And then, you know, there's some surveyors right there.
Right.
That line over there.
Thank you, guys.
Do you have an extra copy of the area we're looking at there?
You got that for the meeting? You just have
want-
mine if you want.
You can have mine, it don't matter. It's,
Yeah, they're all the same picture, it just one different, shows the different.
I can draw a line with my
Well,
ruler and do the
I'll
work.
show you the meeting tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mike.
JNR Salvage,
I don't know.
table from last meeting.
Yeah, so you were inquiring about whether, what if somebody put something that was not metal in there?
Correct.
He would just say, you know, they would just take it out. He doesn't think it'll be a big, he must not have a big issue in Underwood, so he's thinking it's not gonna be a big issue here. So,
Okay.
you know, he said we could just see how it goes, and
Right.
he can always pull it out. It's not costing us anything, so he can always determine that he doesn't wanna do it anymore.
Right. Perfect. So I'll make a motion, we go with JNR Salvage for the metal dumpsters with the agreement that they have stated.
At the city compound, right? that's where you're gonna have it, or back here?
It'll be back here, that'll be determined, but
Well,
I think it'll be back here.
I'm worried about
because-
people to decide to put branches in there.
Well, we have to make sure that,
Mark.
Mark.
Yeah.
Mark the ashes one, because the ashes one is
You
there.
can assume.
I have school board, you guys always show up.
No, they do. Anyway, I guess that'll be determined
Okay,
by them, what they think is probably best.
Can you just clarify though, you said that they would pull something out if it wasn't metal, but then who's responsible for it? The city then would end up being responsible for that disposal of whatever. Is that kind of what I'm gathering?
I guess I didn't ask that, that particular question.
Okay.
I didn't ask.
You know, the thing is, if it doesn't work, then we just say,
Yeah.
sorry, we're done.
Well, that's why I was wondering if we wanted it at the compound where,
Yeah, but that's locked.
but all the time, or?
Well, and what's the difference if,
Yeah, that's
you
true.
know, if they sneak in during the day or they don't, so. Anyway, there's a motion, did we have a second? Can't remember.
I'll second that.
Any other discussion? We'll try it, see if it works,
Yeah.
Okay, Mike?
Aye.
No?
Aye.
Yes. Okay, we've got the, next one is the, water treatment plant, I&C service, we're gonna wait until we get to the, A2S for that one, okay? Okay, state fire and tornado agent of record,
So I reached back out to both Western Frontier Insurance and Farmers, what is Mike called, his name called?
Farmers Union.
Farmers Union Insurance. Neither one charge a fee. So, I think they're the same, so you just have to decide.
We're already going with Mike for other stuff, right? At the Farmers Union, so it's better to have everything with one agent instead of two or three.
Well, either that or we support different businesses in town, which they both cover different things.
Right, so this would be the fire and tornado.
Right, and that is the land and the buildings. I like to spread us around a little bit if we can, support as many businesses as we can in town. I think if you just hog one into, then you're, what's the other one called, not Mike, what's the other one called?
The Western Frontier
Western
Insurance.
Frontier, yeah, sorry.
Yeah, Gary is out for medical leave, so it's another Todd Newton is who returned my email, but
I'm gonna make a motion that we go with Western for the, state fire and tornado, agent of record.
Second.
Discussion? Mike?
Aye.
Well,
Aye.
yes, okay. You can always change it later if something doesn't work out.
Yeah, I know Jesse. Jesse's the owner from Hazen,
Oh, you know?
or his dad. Oh, yeah.
Oh, I thought that, what's his name, whatever.
No, Jesse's the main contact.
Okay, Metro Insurance Reserve Fund, separation from city policy, did you get any more info on that?
so just that, if as long as they're their own entity and have their own separate tax ID, they are able to get their own policy. So Mike Nelson right now is trying to determine of all the things listed on our policy, what belongs to which entity.
So we should table that then?
I would
Give them
say
more
we
time.
table it. Yeah, table it for more information, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What's this, being the park board's on here, what's this for, to drop as insurance hold? Is there a benefit to do it one way or the other?
Well, that's what we're trying to find out, this is basically for equipment, okay? Right now, everything's under the city, fire department, ambulance, park board.
I've seen the list, it's a nightmare trying to figure out whose stuff is on there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we're working on it just to see, kind of where we sit,
Sure.
because basically the ambulance has their own money, the fire department has their own money, you guys have your own money. No, just try and figure it out. At one time, the ambulance was in this building, basically, I think, just try and get it figured out where we're at.
Yeah, keep in the loop.
Yep, oh yeah, definitely. Rural Water Association membership. Water does a lot for us, and we need them to make them up at no charge. Do seminars throughout the year. I am going to motion that we continue with the North Dakota Rural Water System Association for the city membership dues of $245. The other two are suggested donations. I don't know if we should do suggested donations with city money.
I'll go with your motion for the 240 for a second.
245.
245, sorry.
Okay, any other discussion? Mike?
Aye.
Well,
Aye.
yes. NRG, price quote for the judge's computer?
So when we did our budget last year, we had a plan of replacing a computer each year for the 3 years and rotating those computers down the line. So 2 of them have been replaced. This last one is the judge's. His computer is currently a Windows 7 Professional, so it's no longer going to be supported. So if we do not do a new computer, we're going to have to do new software. So I reached out to NRG and got a price quote from them for a computer for him. So that's what you have paper in front of you. So
And that is a really old computer.
yeah.
Yeah. So we're looking at a little less than $1,500.
With the thought again that that computer that he currently has can been transferred over to that community access channel if it's better than that one.
Oh, right, yeah. So it will be reused, yeah. Does he need any monitor? Probably not.
I believe the hookups were different, so we had.
Well, they might be, yeah. Yeah, a lot of those old monitors don't hook up, do they? A motion to get the new computer for the judge's chamber.
I'll second that.
$1497.38. Discussion? Mike?
Aye.
Well,
Aye.
yes. Okay, utility rate increases.
So I received this notice from Circle Sanitation that they're going to increase their rate. And for our current contract with them, they are able to do that.
For certain things.
For certain things, correct. So they are increasing their rate by 55 cents. So I also attached just our general rate spreadsheet showing you what we currently have for 2019 and increased that garbage for 55 cents to show you what that would look like in that sheet that says general rate information for 2020.
Yeah, and that, well, that's also showing water rate too, though.
Correct, it's showing all the, what a residential typical utility billing looks like and commercial. And then it outlines there what McLean Sheridan is getting charged per gallon and the water salesman is per gallon.
Oh, okay, because commercial garbage, they pay direct, right?
Correct.
Okay. So let's deal with the circle first.
Okay.
Okay? And basically they're raising the rate, from what I understand, because their dumping fee, has increased. They have a notice from the city of Minot, that effective January 1, the dumping fee goes up. Like a landfill rates from $40 a ton to $48 a ton, and inert waste will increase from $30 a ton to $35 a ton. So they're asking for a 55-cent rate increase, which is well within their right to do so. We can deny it, but I think they've been pretty good to us. And also, you'll see the extra garbage tote is actually gonna go up $1.55. You know, the regular tote will be 55 cents, but the extra tote will go up $1.55. Comments?
I guess we kinda have to, so I will move to approve.
Okay. I'll second that. Further discussion? Mike?
Aye.
No?
Aye.
Yes. Okay. So next is, our water rate. Randy, can you kind of explain why?
So if you look back at your financials, go back to that new report that I created for you.
You know which page it's on?
It is on page 11. No, page... where's that one? Page 9 of 11. So it should be at the end, I think it's at the very end of your financial packet there. It's that budget
Oh,
year-to-date.
here we go. Got it.
That one.
Mhm.
So if you look at Fund 601, which is the water fund, and you look down, you can see that 2019 year-to-date actual column, and it's got a negative $1,137.53. So far you're in the red. That water fund is not supporting itself. You're in the red.
Okay.
So I would suggest that you increase the water rate to help cover. You're not supporting yourself. You're not in the water fund.
Right. And your recommendation was a 45
45 cent.
base rate,
Mhm.
so it's only 45 cents. And then the extra gallons beyond 2,000 would stay the same at whatever that is, 0.004 per gallon. Okay. And that would go for the residential and commercial. And then, we also discussed the water salesman. We're paying a lot of fees for that water salesman.
Yeah, when I did an analysis of that today, though, it looks like it's okay.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, because really that is quite a bit higher rate than,
Yeah.
well, it's actually about the same rate as our base rate at 2 cents per gallon. That's basically close to what our base rate is then.
Mhm.
Okay. All right. With that, I'll make the motion to raise the base rate 45 cents, starting January 1, for water.
I'll second that.
Discussion? Mike?
Aye.
Right.
Yes.
Well, There'll be $1 total between the two on that bill, right?
Correct, yeah.
If I,
Unless you've got an extra tote, then
yeah, right, but I mean, on a normal one, basically we went up
Right.
$1. Okay, just so everybody knows.
Snow removal policy. Give me a chance to review that. Thank you. Basically, what we're trying to do is, get a policy that, to follow. A lot of it we've been doing for years and years, but it's good to get it out there for everybody.
So the only question you had, Larry, was about the parking for the winter season.
Mm,
That is not addressed in here.
right,
And the parking overnight.
right, that, we would probably have to change the ordinance though, right, or not, or, I mean, we could get signs, because that's what we used to do, when it was snow, they'd put a sign in the middle of the street, it said, no parking on Main, snow removal.
So you're saying put the sign up during the season, or as a permanent?
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know. Basically,
Where are we having the most problem? Just right in downtown Maine? Are we worried about? Are we worried about whole Maine? What are we really trying to enforce?
well, downtown Maine particularly, because, that's where we haul the snow off. With downtown Maine. And then, the problem is you got a couple of, people that habitually will not move, which makes it a pain for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
These individuals have been talked to, but they just keep doing it.
Because Maine has a 24-hour parking deal on it now, that it has to be moved in 24 hours.
Right. And somewhere in the ordinance it says we can, make it less than that if we want, but, but I think you would have to do it with signs or something, so, I'm not sure what the answer is, but, another big problem is, trailers and other stuff left on the street, which I would like to eventually see in the ordinance that from, say, November 1st to either the end of March or the middle of April, that trailers, apparatuses and machinery is not allowed to be parked on the street. But we'd have to change the ordinance for that. Because right now, it's basically a 48-hour on that stuff, which gets abused all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But some of this is gonna require ordinance changes. This is basically a policy that, and then if we approve this policy, then, we can list it in the paper, put it in the paper, I think would be a good thing. So everybody can read it, everybody sees what it is.
Or we could mail a copy to everybody.
What would be cheaper?
I don't know, I'd have to figure that out.
Well, yeah, because not everybody gets the paper, I suppose.
Well, we could put it in with the water bills.
But the water bills are not
Water
in
bills
the
or
envelope.
postcards.
Oh, that's right.
Staple it on.
Mm-hmm. Printed on the back.
think one change here, it says December 2019, it should be 2019, 2020. You know, slash 2020. Or, it could just be 2019, 2020, I guess.
We could just take it, the date off.
You can do that too, yeah, right, then we just use it over again, so, yeah. So, I'm gonna move that we approve this policy, and that we either print it in the paper, or else send out copies to everybody.
And this would be considered the first reading.
It's a policy, not an ordinance. So you don't need readings,
No, I have two, okay.
yeah. Because basically, you know, majority of this is in our ordinances already, this is just a policy so people know what's going on. So there's a motion, do we have a second?
Second?
Any further discussion? Right,
Aye.
no,
Aye.
yes. And then, you know, been working on other ordinances, we'll just keep working on different ordinances until, find stuff. Public surplus agreements. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, so you had asked me to look into this public surplus some more, and I reached out to them and they sent these agreements. So we need these agreements in order to continue the setup to be able to sell on this website. So these agreements are needed to be able to be a seller. And we need to decide if those fees are going to be taken care of on our side, if we're gonna take care of those fees, or if the public surplus is going to be administering those fees to the buyer. The buyer is gonna pay those fees either way. We just have to decide, are we going to be administering them, or are they going to be administering them?
And what do you think would be best?
Well, I think they should. I mean, the less work we have to do, the better. Less involvement we have to do, the better, but
That's true.
What if we reject a piece item that don't sell? Would we be billed for running it through there?
I don't remember reading that part.
Okay.
Well, it says, public surplus charges no fees for you to register to list property for sale on the site.
Okay.
You will owe a transaction fee for each sale through the site, so
So it's
that-
just that they...
there might be a transaction fee.
And what this is right now is just to set it up so that, you know, basically, we're kind of looking at that Unimog sweeper. You know, this goes nationwide.
There's other websites too that work really well, you know, like Auction Time.
Oh, yeah,
That actually, I think, does better than public surplus.
does it?
Mm-hmm. And you can put it on the auction or just put it on to be sold. But there are dates on there.
You can set a reserve. I mean,
Yeah.
somebody started out at $50 or $100 just for clickbait, but
Right.
there's a lot of times they'll put whatever number they want on it. You either get it, you don't, whatever.
Right, yeah, we can't just outright sell it because, you know,
Right.
after a certain amount of dollars, it has to be. This is the one I'm familiar with. Auction Time, I don't know who runs that, or,
There's some local guys that are agents or whatever to it, but it's huge, it's weekly.
is that the one that prints out the,
Yeah, they send it out to all the gas stations and
Mm-hmm.
it's an offshoot of like Machinery Trader, Tractor
Yeah.
House.
okay, now I know which one you're talking about.
Not that I know.
Not that we buy equipment off there, right?
No, never, no.
No,
That's last week or-
That's where you find all that.
Mm-hmm. It's addicting too.
Well,
There's what's it, that Four Winds guy from Mercer.
right,
He's an agent for it, and if you guys only rarely have a piece, you know, if you're not gonna make a big habit out of it,
right,
maybe let him run through it.
I wonder what they charge.
I don't know. I mean, I'm sure it's gonna cost you a little bit, but if you don't wanna be doing the paperwork, and if you don't wanna be doing the BS with it,
Right. Well, and that's the way this is too, we can either do it or we can't, or we can let them do it. And
I
the other
think
guys pay.
exposure wise, if I was looking for the money, I think I would,
I would check into it. Okay, so, yeah, this doesn't have to be done right away. Or we could set this up, it doesn't cost us to set it up, right? And then also check into this one. Why don't we do that, with them collecting the money? And then if we don't use it, we don't use it. We check into auction time, we like that better, we can go with that one. Because really, we wouldn't be selling anything for a while anyway, till the weather gets nicer anyway, so.
So you're making that your motion?
That is my motion.
Well,
Thank you.
I'll second that.
Mike?
Aye.
No? Yes. Are you ready, Rainey?
Yep.
Okay. Cable Communications franchise ordinance. So that is for Midco, correct? So we checked with David and it is not all-inclusive just for them. Somebody else can come in, it's just, what'd you say, it has to be
They have to follow these same rules.
same rules and guidelines. And this is an ordinance, which is normally the way it goes. Basically, it's the same as it was before. You know, I'm gonna motion that we dispense with the actual reading of this ordinance. David said we can do that. So that's my motion.
I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor, or Mike?
Aye.
Well, yes. Okay, so then, with that being said, I will motion that we, accept the first reading of this ordinance. There has to be two readings. And this would be the first reading. Have my motion?
Second.
Discussion? Mike?
Aye.
No?
Aye.
Yes. Okay. Ready, read? City reviews, mazes. You want-
Colin and I did our annual reviews. I'll just read down a list for, what we're proposing for increases. Brian, 48 cents, Adam, $1.48, me, $3.83, Chelsea, 48 cents, and Julie, $1.81. And I would make that a motion to have that go into effect for January 1st, 2020.
I will second that. Any discussion? Mike?
Aye.
No?
Aye.
Yes. Okay, employee Christmas gifts.
Like we did in the past, I would move that we give the full-time employees $100 in Washburn bucks and the part-time $50 in Washburn bucks.
That's your motion?
Yes.
I will second that motion. Discussion? Mike?
Aye.
No?
Aye.
Yes. Christmas ad, reader news. Same as last year, I'm against, spending the people's money to wish happy birthday, or wish Merry Christmas to themselves.
kid paid for it last year, maybe it's your turn, Larry.
He didn't pay for it.
Oh,
We did.
a lot of them I thought he did.
Well, he said he would if we didn't.
Oh, I didn't.
So, if somebody wants to motion that we do this, they can.
And it would be $46.50.
50 cents. If not, we will drop it. Going.
I'll make the motion.
Okay. We have a motion, we have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, discussion? Okay, you already know how I feel. Mike?
Aye.
Noel?
Aye.
No. Okay, motion carried. Oh. 427 Main Avenue funding.
So you'll see that you've got an audit summary on your, in your documentation. Find it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you'll see that, that project, that fund is a negative 18,249.03. So I need to know how you're going to fund that overage, that shortage in that fund.
That was for this project, right?
That is for Main Avenue, street and storm sewer, yes.
Hmm. Well, I think we should, that was that overage on that. I think we should go the surge funding on that.
Is it
Am I-
possible to go to
What?
buildings for the,
For infrastructure?
Well, it's possible, I guess. I mean, they paid, the rest of it.
Right. And we asked that they'd pay it all, but we didn't have the in number to it. You know.
Well, we asked for a specific number.
Right, but when we were talking about, we were gonna go for the whole amount, we didn't realize there was more to it than what we estimated.
Well, when we talked about it, we asked that the engineering fees be included
Right.
in that. Is that
In the
what it
total
was?
amount,
In
right.
what it was, and that's where our total came from.
Right. But I think we should go back and ask for the other amount.
Okay, but in the meantime, we still have to pay it, and we could ask,
It's been paid.
oh, it has been paid,
Yeah,
okay.
this
okay.
fund is just sitting at a negative balance.
Okay, just,
That's what
okay,
you see with
negative.
that report there.
Okay. So if you would like to make a motion to go for them for that? that would
I
be-
make a motion, we go to the 1 cent sales tax to cover that fund.
Okay. Further discussion? Mike?
Aye.
Well,
Aye.
yes. Rainey, you'll set that up at your convenience? Eric, you might as well come up. You've been sitting there so nice and quiet. All right, we're gonna go to the A2S Nexus first, and then you'll probably maybe be able to answer some questions on it.
Yep, I can most certainly add some. Rainey, do you wanna
Yeah,
give the update
I
on that?
can. So I emailed you all the update. Did you all read it? Okay. And so he's saying, in talking with Carla, there's about 40 hours of work in progress from last week and this week to get it's Wednesday. On top of that, she estimates another 40 hours of time to complete the reconciliation in task 3. So, so we have outstanding bill of currently about 6,500 to 7,000 for the work in progress, and probably about the same to finish that task 3. So
So it would be, what, 13? No, you said what, 6,500 plus?
6,500 to 7,000 right now is what's
Okay.
outstanding, what we haven't been billed for. The work's been done.
Okay.
And then he's estimating another 40 hours to complete.
Which would be
task
another,
3.
and that would be,
Well, it depends on who's doing the work as to what the rate is, but even if you did $200 an hour, you know,
Right.
as a high number, another $8,000.
so we'll just, I don't think we have any choice. I think we need to go on, you know, we need to continue, we need to know where we're at,
Mm-hmm.
you know, so,
As far as I understand, Rainey, task 2 is completed, and that includes, the list of accounts that are paid in full. Did they give you a spreadsheet with that information?
No, nothing, just the
Okay.
email.
But he does have that, I think Ryan said they do have that completed, right?
Yeah,
And we could use that as soon as possible, right, Rainey?
yeah.
Okay, do we have a fund, do we have to figure out a fund for this, or do we have to,
Well, right now, it's all coming out of the general fund.
it is, right?
That financial review is coming out of, professional fees, I
Professional fees and
think.
services, yeah, right, yeah, that would make sense. So I'll make the motion that we continue on with, I mean, we have to pay what we already owe them and then continue on with the phase 3, was it?
Task 3.
At an task 3 with an estimate of 40 hours.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, I'm assuming do they send up another agreement for that, do you think, or is that, or how does that work?
I'll have to check with Ryan. We had a letter of agreement, and I think that was an hourly, is that hourly to a max, Randy? on that
No, it
agreement?
just had an estimate.
Just had an
It does
estimate.
not have the rates, well, unless this your master exhibit would qualify as that. You know, your additional exhibits that you have at the back of your,
Yeah, if we're going hourly, and if it doesn't state that it's hourly to a max, if it's just hourly, then I think we can just bill hourly to project completion.
Okay.
But if you wanna set a max, that's up to you too.
Well, the
Ryan
first
wanted-
agreement wasn't a max, so, I mean,
No.
because you don't know.
Right, and that was a problem, that was a tricky thing with the assessments, and, I will add that, you know, I think you guys already know this, but the assessments ended up being a little more tricky than what we initially expected. Some of the projects had 4 or 5 assessments in them, just because we had a sewer assessment, a water assessment, a street assessment. And the other thing is the amount of parcels, that the assessments were split amongst was a lot more than I think what they were expecting to start digging, or after we started digging into it. Kind of explain, the challenge behind it.
Well, we know it's a huge undertaking.
Yeah.
You know. And they've got so many years involved, which makes
Yeah,
sense.
back to 2008, I think it went.
Right.
So, Rainey, do you need to get more information from Ryan, or we need to, talk to him further, so that you have a better, feeling on it going forward? Because he did say that for task 3, you know, that it probably could take about 40 hours of work to get Carla to finish it up.
right.
If this is something, but you said Larry.
And that was in my motion to go with,
Yeah.
40 hours.
40 hours.
So, and then if it needs more, then we probably need to address it after that.
Okay, so I'll just be in touch with Ryan, and I'll make sure that he's talking to you, Rainey, on where we're at with this, so we can watch it closely.
Okay, so we got to vote on that. So we have a motion and a second. Mike?
Aye.
Well,
Aye.
yes, okay. Good. Hopefully we can get it done soon. Fire under them. Okay, so, request update.
Okay, so I sent out the letter, with everything, did everyone get a chance to kind of peruse through that? The first thing, that I have on there for Main Avenue, and Larry, we did the walk around inspection back in October.
Hmm?
So that final inspection acceptance sheet, that's all that's stating, that we did the walk around, and that's the completion date. And I can put the number of the final project cost in there after you guys did the final day application. So that's the sheet stating,
So the walk around was the date, or the date we accepted it was the date?
the walk around is when the work starts, that's when all work was completed. So October 17, 2019, and then you're good for a year. So
Right.
this spring,
Plus they're gonna
throughout
come
the
in.
summer, you and I, as much as you wanna check it out, if you wanna do a couple walk-arounds, we can do that.
Right, because they said they
Now-
would come back.
Yeah, and they'll come back and fix it within that year.
Right.
So that's what this is stating, the dates. And it's an acceptance form, and then I've already signed it, and then I would just need your signature, and then I would get it to Weiss and Sons, and then once, I get their signature, I would send a copy back to everybody.
I knew I had it, I couldn't find it. Okay. Okay.
And I have an extra copy too, Larry, if you need it.
Yeah, I got 4 on this one.
Okay, I'll set that up for you.
Okay.
Any questions on Main Avenue?
No, 'cause I think at the last meeting, we accepted the final.
Yes,
Yeah,
you guys, made the
Right.
motion to accept
Right.
the
That's
change
right.
order and the final pay application.
Yeah.
The next thing I have on there is the water treatment plant server and software upgrade. This is the same thing I had on there last month. I know you guys wanted to, take a little time to look at this, and I know there was a desire to know more on what's going on with the financials that Ryan and Carla are working on with Nexus before we made a decision, as well as if we could keep this, if the intake project would go, you would want to keep it within the intake project. So, I guess not knowing what you guys might want to do, I just put the same thing on there. I have the letter agreement from Mike Torney and Jasper on there as well, for that. And I think in my update email, I went through the options for you guys to consider the different, possibilities to do with that server. So this is for the server upgrade, well, that's not really a server upgrade, it's a replacement of the existing server at the water treatment plant because it's about 9 years old. It's also for the purchase of a backup server. Right now, the water plant does not have a backup server. And it's also for, funding the, membrane server.
And,
So it's for 3 servers and new software for those servers. And then all the labor to install the software and, servers.
and did I talk to you after our last meeting about, would this qualify for reimbursement from the state water
You
commission?
did ask me that.
That was
It does-
afterwards.
And it does not qualify for the State Water Commission matching grant funding, yeah. Unfortunately.
Yeah, that would have made it kind of an easy decision. Or
Right.
easier decision, I should
Easier
say.
decision, yeah, yeah.
So, I think that's something, we should wait for Colin,
Okay,
don't you agree?
so do you want me to bring it back up next meeting then too? Or do you guys wanna, I don't wanna keep bugging you with it either. If there's a date you wanna set or,
Why don't we let it go for a little bit? I mean, if you get a chance to talk to Colin, you can talk to him, but, I think what we really need to try and figure out is where we can get some more money and go with the whole project, because if we're gonna do it, it'd be nice to have it in on the project,
right, I agree.
That's kind of where I'm sitting anyway. 31,000 is a pretty good chunk to fork out. I know eventually we'll have to do it, but if we can get it in on a project and get part of it funded, that's all the better. Everybody agree with that, or?
Okay,
That was our INC services, right?
yes,
Yeah.
and that was on the agenda, that was
Right.
number 17 on the
17,
agenda.
right, correct, okay.
INT services, and that's the 3 server replacement and new software for those 3 servers at the water plant.
Okay.
That's what that is. Okay, I will reach out to Colin and just check in with him on that, and then we'll, like I said, I'll give you guys a break on that, and I'll come back to it later, next spring sometime.
Okay.
The next thing was an update on the intake project. So, the FEMA grant, I did speak with Justin Messner at the North Dakota Department of Emergency Services on this, and I asked, well, first I should say, the grant was officially awarded back on November 26th. I talked to Alyssa from Leader News a little bit about this. She was asking, she said, is this a different grant, or is this the actual grant we already had? And I said, no, this is the grant that we've already had allocated to the city. It just was not officially awarded because there's a lot of red tape that it has to go through whenever you're getting money from the federal government. And the environmental review was completed, and once it passes the environmental review, which there was a lot of extra steps involved there too with the Corps of Engineers and U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. But once it passes that, it goes to, the, notification process, federal notification process, in which our politicians kind of get the chance to take credit for it, I guess, is what I'll say. So, once FEMA says, yep, here it is, then it goes to Senator Kramer and, Hovind both got a hold of it, and then they get to do a press release that, and I included the press release, I think, on the, packet, announcing that the federal dollars from FEMA was allocated to the city of Washburn. So that happened on November 26th. I think it was in Minot paper. I'm not sure if it was in Bismarck, but I know Minot had it in their paper. After, you know, we knew we got the grant, I talked with Justin about, you know, is there a chance for a grant increase? Explaining to him what we've talked with the State Water Commission about, same things with, you know, there was a unforeseen increase in the project, presented a case for additional funding. And what Justin told me was that once the grant's awarded, there is no chance of getting additional funds. What you'd have to do in that case is turn those funds back in and reapply the project for a grant again, to ask for more money that way. I would say that that'd be really risky, to turn in that much money.
Yeah.
We were, pretty fortunate to get the amount of money we did get from FEMA. And I'm not saying, I don't wanna be pessimistic, but, I'm not saying that we wouldn't be able to have the project selected again. It's a possibility, but it was pretty tough to get what we did get, so.
Right, and this grant we have now is good until when? Like,
It's good, through 2021.
Right.
And when I talked to Justin about that, he said you can apply for extensions on that as well.
okay.
Now, that being said, I wouldn't wanna wait until the last minute either.
Right.
On
Yeah.
that,
Right,
so.
okay.
Any questions on that part of it? So continuing on with FEMA, so Justin Messner, the North Dakota Department of Emergency Services, they're kind of my go-between in talking with FEMA. I don't work directly with FEMA, I work through our state agency to get grants like this and to coordinate with them. FEMA was, a little worried about the issue of getting the trees cut down on the site where the intake is proposed to be. And the reason that they want those to be cut down this fall, winter, is because we had to go through a lot with the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service to have those trees removed when they weren't going to be affecting endangered species or threatened species. And there's two different types. There's a bald eagle, and there's the northern long-eared bat, or two species that they were giving us a tough time about. And they if we're going to remove the trees, they want to remove during the fall and the winter, because then those species would not be affected, because they wouldn't be having residents there at that time. FEMA was really worried about that, because he said if you guys don't get those cut down before the spring of the year, or I'll get the exact date for you, but I think it was like April 1st, then you risk having to wait till the next April.
Right.
So I know we were hoping that we could get some more funding for this project and re-advertise and bid it, and hopefully get better bids to get the intake project moving forward, but that was their concern. When Justin said that, I said, you know, the city doesn't actually own that land right now. They had a temporary agreement that they didn't complete because the project didn't go forward. So, you know, we don't own the land, and right now we don't have any contractor to do the work.
Right.
So, that was my comments to him, and I don't know that you guys can do anything about it right now, but I just wanted you to be aware of what their concerns are, because if we would go full steam ahead in April, May, and say, oh, we got a good bid, we're gonna go forward with the project, they could say, well, you can't develop the site because we got bats. We got that we gotta watch out for, so.
Prairie fire.
So that's kinda what we got going on there, but, again, it's something for you guys to think about, and I don't know if there's anything you can do about it, but, I think, as we get into next year, if you know, I'll continue to coordinate with those agencies to make sure they're aware of what our plans are.
Questions?
And we'll keep looking for other funding sources, for that. Like I said, still hoping to revisit the project in the spring, if that's what the city wants to do.
Yeah, unless we find more money, it doesn't look good, you know, but,
We'll keep looking.
yeah.
Have you heard anything else about the bucket for the prairie dog? If that's coming along?
The prairie dog funding, I don't know the status right now, of it's the oil and gas tax revenue, I believe, as far as, how quickly they're filling up the different funds in the state, but I could
We
maybe
check on
reach
it?
out and check on that too, yeah.
You know, just that and a loan or something if we have to, just to give us some information.
Yep, and, if you're talking loans, the project is on the intended use plan for SRF funding. So, loans we have, that's a low interest loan, 2%, interest rate for SRF funding. So we have that covered, we're
Okay.
just, right now, we're kinda looking for more of the grant dollars or the different, can't say free money, cause, well, Colin's not here, so I can't say it, but there's no such thing as free federal dollars.
No.
Taxpayers paid for it, but we'll keep looking for those grants, if there's anything we can find, but I'll check on the prairie dog funding for you.
Okay. But really, it's not gonna be that huge of an amount that we're gonna get, but,
Was it 200,000? Wasn't that what they were talking about?
I mean, it's a good chunk, but,
Well, yeah, but
Yeah.
that you can do it over multiple years. You know, well, if we can get that and do a loan, then that might be able to pay back the loan.
I thought we couldn't do that.
So the prairie dog funding, from what I understand, and Randy, you can back me up on this or check me on it, but, it can't be used to pay existing debt.
Not existing, but
Not
if,
existing.
right, but if,
So
They're
if you
not-
were to get prairie dog funding like this spring, say it comes this spring, which last time I checked, it was gonna be more of a summer, fall type of allocation for cities of Washburn size. Just depends on how quickly that oil and
Right.
gas revenue tax revenue comes in. If you were to get the prairie dog funding before you were to incur a debt, then you could use it.
right,
Now, if you get that prairie dog funding, you get an SRF loan, next year you get more prairie dog funding, I don't think you could use that prairie dog funding on that new SRF loan that you
that's
get.
what I
The
was
way
wondering.
that I understand it.
Yeah, the way I
Is that right,
understood it
Amy?
too is, yeah, you could bank it in your bank, but,
You bank it.
right, you don't have to spend it, but, yeah, like what Eric said, I don't think you can
But
use
it
it
has
to
to be
pay.
for a future project, right?
Yeah.
Or-
Okay. You can bank it, but you can't. Okay.
And that's all I had, unless you had any questions.
I don't believe I do.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. Portfolios, Mike?
The Memorial Hall, we've had some issues with some problems in the bathrooms, so we've kind of decided to put a cheaper or, not so expensive camera system in there. So we're trying that out, and if we like what we see, then we were going to purchase it, or, keep it. If not, we were going to send it back. So it's
You can send it back?
for 30 days, I think it was.
Okay.
So we're, I know Adam is quite busy, but we have it up and running, but, we're just trying to find positions for the cameras. So there is a camera up and running in the Memorial Hall.
You need to put, stickers on the
Yep.
doors then?
Yep,
We've ordered them and they're here.
Okay.
And then, as we're doing the elevator, we are working on the idea of getting the doors replaced. It's a matter of a work in progress, so we're still working on that.
Is that it?
Yeah, I believe that's it.
No,
Nothing.
nothing? Rainey?
Okay, I have a folder.
Not a big
So-
folder, I hope.
No, not too bad, sir. I've received today a letter of interest from Tim Doctor to sit on the open position on the planning and zoning, board, so,
We'll make a motion to, appoint Tim Doctor to the Planning and Zoning Commission. Link?
Aye.
No?
aye.
Yes. Thank you, Rainey.
Yep. All right, so another thing is there's a webinar coming up for elections on February 6th through the, League of Cities. And so, and it's only $30. So just to kind of let you know, I'm gonna register for that because it kind of gives you a timeline and kind of what's expected. And so since never having done that,
Yep,
I'm gonna
perfect.
do that on February 6th. That's
Okay.
from 10 until 11 a.m., so I'll do that.
Okay.
Let's see. I reached out to, remember we had talked about McLean Sheridan and their cost share?
Oh, yeah.
I reached out to Ann, and they want to wait until the project is completed. I had told her that we had, they had initially wanted some of the money to come out of 19's budget and their 20 budget, and she
Right.
said they will just wait until that project is completed before, we move forward with the reimbursement piece. So I did reach out to her on that. Last month I had told you that there was a possible house that was gonna come back to the county for, on a tax deed. That individual, I guess, then did pay the taxes, so
Oh, okay.
that's no longer. And then, just through listserv, the city of Sawyer is looking into an ordinance enforcer, is what they call that person. It's an appointed position by the council that reports directly to the council. And they're looking at having this person be an ordinance enforcer as a solution to their problem with their ordinance is not, so it just kind of gave you the idea, and I'll keep you updated as to, they said that they would keep the rest of the cities involved as to how that proceeds forward, if that was working out for them, and if that's a
I
possibility.
kinda like that idea.
That would work for parking and all these
As
little
long
issues.
as it was not criminal, there is no required peace officer training or anything, since the person will only have the authority to cite citations for infractions against an ordinance. They are not able to write any criminal citations.
Right.
I think Garrison has done the same thing in the past,
Okay.
Really?
but I don't think it worked out too well. But you can reach out to them anyway.
Okay, so she didn't pipe in on that, but I can ask her. Just thought it was an interesting idea that
Yeah.
that's something we wanna keep our eyes open on. And that's it.
Speaking of elections, when, 'cause 2020 is the election for our city, when can you start collecting? Can't you do it like right away?
I think January
I
1st
think
is
it's
what I
January
read.
1st, if anybody, is interested, so, okay. Anybody? Okay, bills?
I would move to approve paying the bills.
I'll second that.
Any questions, comments on bills? Mike?
Aye.
Well, yes. Okay, 2020 meeting dates. We have a list here. January 13th, February 10th, March 9th, April 13th, Board of Equalization, April 13th, regular meeting, May 11th, May 26th, June 9th, Canvassing Board, June 23rd, we elect commissioners to office, July 15th, July 27th, August 3rd, because that's pretty early because of our budget.
he's on night shift, cause he could probably still make for the day shift, cause he gets off at 6.
I believe you talked to him, didn't you, Rain?
No, he managed to, whatever you want to do. He has told me that he's not interested in running again, so you only have a conflict for the first half.
You know, the problem is sometimes his schedule changes, and that's why I think he misses a lot of them now, because his schedule changes as the year goes on.
It shouldn't.
Yeah, that's what he said last.
It really shouldn't change though.
You
So
know,
it'd be the first half of the year that we'd have to look at.
it is so hard to get dates that everybody can work with. I would just as soon, you know, go with a regular meeting date and stay with that. You know, I mean, that's my opinion. If you guys want to do something different, that's fun, but, you know, it's almost impossible, you know, trying to pick a date that works for everybody. Anyway, I made a motion. Somebody's gonna now have a discussion. Any other discussion? Mike?
Aye.
Well,
Aye.
yes. Next meeting, January 13th. Thank you everyone for coming, meeting adjourned.
We have to form on sales deal. And people voted for that, right? That falls to not a quorum on sales tax, that one, right?
I know what you're talking about.
Okay, on the 1 cent sales tax, right? You need majority, right?
Propose where you want.
What do you
Of the
think?
commission.
Sure, does that have that on there?
We have a majority, 2 to
And I
1.
will,
No, you gotta have a quorum.
We have a quorum, we have 3 people.
Yeah, I voted present, though.
it would take.
I don't think that, not sure.
Yeah,
That I don't know.
I guess you can check into it, but, you know,
Okay, yeah. So this is what you wanna move, you wanna change this? We will be getting from the city. We'll be getting this from the city. Do you have this corner already? Or do you have the?
He got it though.
We had that meeting and they told me how to bill it. You guys didn't measure it here.
yeah, I didn't know that.
You know, how the approach is, because we were trying to keep him in service. We're not putting restaurants. So that's why we were doing on the side.
Right. Right.
Yeah, you get to go home. There's no way we would have.
Finally. It's all right. I apologize.
When I was doing the raises, I should have came back and asked if, like, anybody, any employees, me, you had any comments? But I didn't think you actually.
Yeah, you're right.
So-
You're good.
Okay.
You're good.
So,
No need to apologize.
no, I didn't put you on the spot for the other one either. But
When would you?
They called that up. I'm sorry.
So in the spring, right?
I didn't take it that way.
Yeah,
Everything else is good though?
I know.
Yeah, there's a lot on the agenda, so
So you
there's
need,
got a lot going on.
Yeah,
survey.
let's see, 3 things that I tabled, so.
Well, you know what,